you've been doing this 25, 30 years. Has there ever been a case that has kind of haunted you over these years that you just can't put aside?
There are some cases that do haunt me, but I do try to kind of put that, in the back burner as much as possible, and try to concentrate on what's positive and family and everything, because I'm obviously I'm far from a morbid person, and I don't like to dwell on these, but you do have to take some time away once in a while. You get so immersed in certain cases that you do have to step back, because it will affect your own life. Just in any situation like that, be it whether you're dealing with somebody who's affected by mental illness or something. You do have to step back and take a breather now and then, and concentrate on the beautiful things and more positive things in life, like family and such as that. So there is the case, of course, the Perrin case, the Harrisville case, that always stays with me. But also, there was a case of possession that my brother and I dealt with in the 1980s, early 1980s, of a 14-year-old boy, and that's kind of stayed with me. I will never forget it, obviously, never forget it. But you do your best to concentrate on what's positive, and try to separate yourself from situations like that as much as possible, because if you dwell on it the whole time, it's really going to affect your life in a negative way, and then you won't be good for to help anybody. So
Were you able to help the boy? Oh, were
what's
you able to
that?
help the boy?
Oh yeah, yes, we did help the boy. I don't think that it was completely successful, the because we assisted in an exorcism. Now, when we first told about this, I asked the family, what religion I used. Oh, we're Catholic. We're Catholic. And so I was led to assume, and my brother believed as well, that this was going to be a Roman Catholic exorcism. And we said, well, sure, we'll assist the priest. I'd be glad to have that experience of assisting a priest. And because they knew we had experience and we were close friends of the family. They were a family of Puerto Rican heritage. However, when we arrived for the exorcism, I asked, "Where's the priest?" I looked around, and it didn't seem to be set up like a priest would, like you picture in the Exorcist. Of course, you picture the priest go in, and the person is there, maybe restrained, but it was nothing like that. They had a punch bowl, and that was holy water. I thought, oh, that the refreshments? No, that's the holy water. It had all fruit in it and everything, and candles in various places on an altar. And the boy was sitting in a chair in a semicircle. And it turned out that there was no priest. They said there's a brujeria, which was the boy's aunt. It turned out that it was going to be a Santerian exorcism. So that was not what I was prepared for. But we stayed there and we did assist. It was very exhausting, extremely exhausting, and I'm glad my brother and I were as young as we were at the time. It's something I would not want to be involved in now, because it involved physically restraining the boy, and he could throw us around like matchsticks if there was only one of us. So it really took a lot of weight to hold him down, and he was very violent, screaming. He was not restrained like in The Exorcist. He was not restrained to a bed. He was up and running around, overturning furniture, smashing things, tipping over candles, and screaming horrendously. Plus, there was overt activity too. There was some paranormal activity going on as well, very obvious, and that's what we look for in cases like this. Not just what's going on, but also if it's preternatural as well. Is there any activity going on? It could be somebody's mental illness. So you look for other signs such as this, and we did get quite a lot of evidence that this was an actual case of demonic possession. For example, the atmosphere in the room turned noticeably sickening, very sickening, made you feel ill. And this was all suddenly, and it was about 5 seconds before the boy went under possession. There was a rumbling across the floor, a rumbling, and we thought it was a truck going by or an earth tremor at first, but it seemed to be going in a certain direction, one part of the floor, and it went across the floor. I felt it vibrate under my feet. The chair my brother was sitting in, which was rather, a family easy chair. It was not a small chair. Began moving back across the floor with my brother in it as it reached him, and he's looking around. What's moving this? And that's when the boy, a second later, went under possession and went to the ground, started screaming and thrashing, then stood bolt upright and began swaying like a cobra. And so it was really quite a very, very strange situation to believe. Very, very violent. It was a very, very violent exorcism, much more violent than I expected it to be. But we did get through it. And the thing is that the exorcist herself, which was the boy's aunt, who was a brujeria, she herself, uh, towards the end of the exorcism, she stood bolt upright, and she was a short but very stout, heavy woman. She fell backwards into a apparent grand mal seizure, smashed the altar, and she was trembling. Then she sat up totally unharmed with a big smile on her face. Her eyes were blackened out, and she herself had gone into possession. Even though she was the exorcist, she herself became possessed. And supposedly it was the spirit of her familiar spirit. She had a little black Buddha statue that was painted black, and supposedly they said her familiar spirit, her helpful spirit, lived in that, and it had come out and taken hold of her and possessed her. So if it was a separate spirit, demons do work together, and that put a halt to the exorcism there.